My name is Brother Jawanda Robinson, and I am certified member of United Black America and your gracious host for this evening's Sunday session conference call. Before we get into tonight's discussion, first, I would like to thank you all for taking time out of your day to join our call tonight. I also would like to pay homage to our ancestors and the predecessors that came before us and the sacrifices they made for our advancement as a nation and a race. So with that being said, I would like to introduce our topic for this evening, which is establishing a code of conduct, and being politically correct. So some of the topics to consider for our conversation tonight: should Black America participate in presidential elections? Are they even beneficial for us? How should Black America organize and conduct ourselves politically in times of injustice and war? What do you think is the best political orientation for Black America, y'all? And then lastly, why do you think Pan-Africanism is or is not the best way forward to politically empowering Black America? But with that being said, Pam, definitely chime in. How do you all feel about participating in presidential elections? Is it beneficial? Do you think we should?
This is Liz, and I don't think we should participate in it because no political party right now is doing anything in our best interest. And that's just the way I feel right now. I don't see anything that they're doing that's benefiting us. I mean, everything that they're doing is benefiting, their cause. It's benefiting the corporations out here. It's not benefiting the people in our society. And I'll yield the floor to somebody else at this time.
Okay, brother, Sister Peace. This is Brother Kahes. I understand how Sister Liz, is feeling. As much as as we vote, we're underrepresented. Well, the reason why that is because we make ourselves underrepresented. Politics is a participatory sport, so you have to participate. Pretty much. You have to be involved. The way that the country is governed is by policy. So the only way that you're going to know or you're going to let people understand that you are around, that you are here and not take you for granted is by the vote. Now, I would agree, Sister Liz, how, we can be downtrodden in terms of the voting process, but how it's how you vote. We don't vote in blocks. We go out and we vote for the person that's talking the most, and that's the person that is going to give us the most, in regards to us being Black people. But it's how you vote. You just can't give your vote away. And the reason why our vote really it counts, but people take it for granted because they're not unified. So the question is, how do we get a unified vote? How do we all speak the same language to make policy that run this country swing in our favor? In our favor, excuse me. That's my ideal. That's my thought.
Sister Liz and Brother Kenneth, those are really great thoughts. I mean, even when we think about what the definition of politics is, I mean, the process that decides who gets what out of life. When we're talking about healthcare, education, food, shelter, proper compensation, politics pretty much, for the most part, determines all of this. And we also know that the thing that drives politics is money. I think a strong argument can be made that it's not even the votes that drives the politics, it's the money. When you think about the Democrats, Republicans, no matter the political party, when we look back at who's funding these people, we're seeing that their policies, their agenda are the ones that are being pushed to the forefront. I think when we're talking about establishing a code of conduct, when we look at President Barack Obama, when we look at it on a larger scale, are you all happy with what he's done during his time in office, or has he really benefited Black America for the most part? What are your thoughts on that, family?
Hello, this is Patricia. I'm gonna answer that question, but I want to go back to the question that the brother was talking about: is money and having people who do what we want them to do when they up in the White House or in the Senate and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. My suggestion or my feel is, not us getting money behind a candidate, but our thing is grooming someone from our own community and putting them in office. Why would we waste money on somebody that's already there, who's already seasoned to do what other people want? We have to start our political process in our communities. We have to look at the younger generation and see who can we send up there to Washington that can represent us instead of wasting money on people that's already there, the old heads that's not going to do nothing for us. You know what I'm saying? We start at home. Groom these new politicians, women, men, you know, these young people to go up there and represent us because they came from the community. They know what we need. So we prepare them to go there. Now, the other question is, has Barack Obama did anything for black people? I don't really see it. A lot of people said he did with the health care, but when you look at the health care, to me, yes, people are being insured, but they can't afford it. So you have to decide, am I going to eat? Am I going to pay my bills? You know, can I drop my kid to child care, you know, to pay for your co-payment, to pay for your medicine, you know, and then if you don't have the money to pay and you get dropped, then you get penalized at the end of the year. So to me, it's like a catch-22. Yeah, we have health care, but if we miss a payment, we're going to get dropped. Then we're going to get penalized. We got these high premiums. You can't go to certain doctors. I mean, it's just kind of what would have worked is just kind of incentivizing the people. You know, if you can't pay, this is what's supposed to happen. You know, then they got the pay cap, the supplements and the subsidies for the poor people that you have to hit a certain tier before they subsidize you. Or they can say that you don't make enough, you know, you make too much money. Then you can't even get the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. So you're back to square one. You don't have health insurance, but yet you get ready to get penalized at the end of the year. So, you know, it's kind of, it didn't help anybody. It kind of hurt a lot of poor people.
Definitely. I mean, those are some really great points, sis. And so, Sis Patricia, I mean, especially what you said about starting a political process in the community. But when you start thinking about that, look at how many people who came from the community who have accumulated and amassed so much wealth between entertainers and athletes. When we look back in the 50s, 60s, maybe even the 70s, a lot of athletes were politically involved. You know, you're looking at Muhammad Ali, you're looking at other political, I mean, all these athletes were very active about the issue. I mean, John Carlos, Tommy Lewis, I mean, these were Olympians we're talking about, and they were very politically active, and unfortunately we don't see that with our entertainers anymore. They come straight from the community. That could even be a topic for another discussion. I mean, does anyone, I mean, others outside of that, what do you all think about establishing a code of conduct when it comes to, I mean, certain groups like the NAACP, Black Lives Matter, and now all of a sudden we're looking at the oath protectors who are coming into our community, or people who are supposed to be representations of our community, and they maybe have a certain type of agenda. I mean, what do you all think about some of these groups that are supposed to be representing us, or that are kind of infiltrating our community and low-key protecting or exploiting us?
Well, this is Ebonique, and I haven't really researched or looked into the Oath Keepers, so I don't know what their agenda is. I don't know what their mission is or anything like that. But the only comment that I have to make in regards to politics is I think that our community also needs like a refresher course. We need some type of course, to teach us about politics. The last thing I remember learning was maybe like in grade school or junior high about politics, and then you grow up and you really don't become interested in it. And unfortunately, that is the fault that I have, and also a fault that I share with my brothers and sisters in the community, is that we're just like, oh, I don't know about politics, I don't really care, but we have what we don't like and what we do like. I think that we need to be better versed in what politics are, so that way we can make better decisions and choices and know what we're doing when we sign our names on ballots or when we, check our votes for people. But also I think that we also have to get involved in our local politics as well, because that's how they get into like the whole big spectrum of getting into the White House. That's what I think.
Most definitely, sis. Anybody else want to chime in on that?
How does everybody feel about having a third party that represents African people, people of African descent. That's always had always been a conversation as well too. We're so emboldened to take part, participate into a two-party system that all the issues and the agenda items that we need that needs to be spoken on behalf of us, it gets lost. Because again, we're not wielding our vote properly. It's just not us going out to vote, but how you vote. And again, if you talk about Pan-Africanism, if that's our policy agenda or platform that we stand on, we have to make it heard. What do we do? What do we do?
When we're talking about Pan-Africanism, we're basically talking about a belief in the laws and representation that benefit Africans in the continent and throughout the diaspora, right? And so really that's a departure from Western thought, political and economic systems in favor of those, which is us, that address the need to build a nation and defend ourselves from white supremacy. So, when we talk about, but it's not a new concept. This concept has been around, for decades. So how should Black America, what's your thoughts on how should Black America organize and conduct ourselves politically in times of injustice and war? Because obviously there are policies and laws that are not benefiting us when we seeing police officers getting off with killing people, Eric Garner, Michael Brown, the names keep accumulating, but police officers or race soldiers, however you want to call them, are still on the street. So what can we do as far as action right now, today, tomorrow, this year, to organize and just, hold people accountable? What are your thoughts on that, Sam?
Well, I don't mean to take the platform or the floor too much, but I just want to say, brothers and sisters, we have 10/10/15 coming up. I understand that this is Farrakhan's last event before, that brother leaves us, and this is something that belongs to the Nation of Islam. So if they have given us a platform, again, how do we hold brothers and sisters that are in positions of leadership accountable? The Black leadership class, and also the leaders that we hold true, such as a brother Farrakhan or many others, that is this just political posturing, or is something going to be done? Because we don't have too long. They're going to keep killing us. They're going to keep wiping us off the face of the earth. So when do we begin to hold them accountable? And again, it all starts with unification. The brothers and sisters that I speak to, they may be on the call tonight. When they want to know exactly what the Pan-African Alliance or the UBA is about, and I pose the question to them, what's the biggest thing that we're facing? Everybody gives me the answer of unity. So how do you unify a people who are so grossly divided? I know we talked about that about 2 Sundays ago, but that's where it all stems, family. Politically, if we want to move anything, we're going to have unity in order to make policy work. I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but that's all I can really think of, brothers and sisters. That has to happen, or nothing's going to get done.
Oh, this is Patricia again. I feel what you're saying, and it rips to my soul when you say unity, because we are divided because of the Willie Lynch thing. It's divide and conquer. So in order to do that, we have to go way back. It has been implanted, embedded. It's in our mind. We are so divided with the color of our skin, the texture of our hair, our body size, how we talk, how we look. It's just how much money we got. It's just on so many levels that the Willie Lynch hit on every single aspect of our lives. So in order for us to be unified, we have to go back and deconstruct that. We have to figure out why. We know why we were divided, but now we have to figure out how to bring us together in every bit of those realms: the social, the education, the religion, the politics, the economics, the music industry, the spiritual industry. It had hit us every single where, and then the people that we want to bring together, they are so divided, they are so out of touch, because they got the piece of the pie that they want, and they don't want to go back and struggle again. They already got what they needed. They're where they want to be, and they don't want to feel that no more. So So trying to get those people to come back and unify with us is going to be difficult.
I think about that also, how divided we are, and because of the old ways are still set in people's minds. But what I do, especially in this small town that I'm in, anytime I see my people, I'm always trying to compliment them. Even if they are avoiding me, I'm like, hey, how you doing? How you doing today? I'm always like the first one to try to speak and just force myself on them, because I need you to know that I love you. I need you to know that I see you. And I think that if we just start like that and just start building trust just within our own community around, because, people we want to know that we're seen. And if we can't be seen by each other, then what is the purpose of us trying to get together and become United States of Africa? We have to start with us. And like Brother has said, unity. It's unity through and through.
I agree with you, Angelina, because so many times I find myself on the train, I find myself somewhere, and it's like we go out of our way to not make eye contact with each other, to look the other way, if somebody looks cute, we looking at them like, ooh, why are you looking cute? So what I try to do is I try to smile. Hey, sis, I like your hair. I don't care if it's natural, if it's weave. I don't care. We're together in this, and we need to recognize that in public. Like, nobody sees us. They don't want to see us, so we have to see each other. And I agree with you. I'm always speaking. I'm always looking. I'm always smiling. Like, you are my people. And we need to stop avoiding each other in such ways. Like, oh, you have on, Nikes and I'm rocking Jordans. It's not about that, because when we on the floor pavement, with bullets in us, it's not about what shoes we were wearing.
That's right.
Most definitely, sis. Kind of getting off of the whole, politics of, voting and all that stuff. What about the other barriers that cause division or, unity in our community, like the N-word, you know what I'm saying? Or for when it comes to males, for predominantly, or the B-word, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to females. I know I'm 27, so a lot of people in my generation, they just use nigga, excuse my language, so freely, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times now, especially people in my generation, they have friends that are outside of being black that they are cool with them using the N-word. You know what I'm saying? And then sisters, sometimes they refer to themselves as bitches, use my language again. You know what I'm saying? Or, we also, when we want to condemn another brother or sister in the community, we might call them cooning or sambos or bed wenches. You know what I'm saying? So, these are words for political purposes that are accepted in some situations and unaccepted in others, yet there's still more division amongst us than there is in others. How y'all feel about some of those things? I know it's kind of off topic.
This is Sister Carmen.
How you feeling?
Peace, I'm doing well. I just want to echo back on what Sister Patrice was talking about. I feel that we cannot be united because most of us don't know our story. If you don't know your story, you do not know who you are. So we need to sankofa. We need to go back and learn our story, because if we know our story, we will see our ancestors live, and they lived in unity. And I feel that is the key to us unifying, is to go back and know our story. We've been given another story that's not our story. So therefore, even though some of us are coming into consciousness, we're still operating on the European system. But if you know your true story, we can begin to unify.
So true. Not wrong to go back for that what you have forgotten. Thank Kofa, most definitely. Anyone else want to chime in on that?
Stan Dave.
Go ahead. The floor is yours.
The present condition of our people is that is lost right now. But a lot of people are waking up. And I feel like the language is definitely something that we need to investigate more of. Especially reading. We definitely have to read. That's one way we can take back our culture and, educate our people, because a lot of times we just look up the definition of these words. We need to look back at the origin and etymology of some of the words that we're using. Because a lot of times in political arenas, they're using doublespeak, and they're using something called connotative linguistics to confuse our people. I would say peace to the ancestor. It started with Martin Luther King, with us, I guess, piggybacking and, going for other races' struggle. Not to say Martin Luther King was not a great man. He still was a great man. He was a great figure. And for the time in which he did, he served his purpose. But what we have to understand now in 2015 is that every other race and every other nation comes here, and they know what time it is. Let's get this business, let's get this money, group economics, and we're not gonna help those black people. We're gonna say Black Lives Matter on Twitter, and we might like a few things for black people. We might even say a couple things to support black people. But we'd be damned if we're gonna use our dollars to support to get them out of the situation that we're profiting off of. So we have to understand that as a people and as a race. It isn't necessarily the language that we use, but we have to understand this thing in depth, because we could use any language as long as we're united, and as long as we got that money, and as long as black dollars matter. It doesn't matter what we do. Look at the Indians. I've been at various businesses and various meetings, and no one likes dealing with the Indians or the Middle East people. They always talk about them in a negative fashion, but it doesn't matter, because they have their own communities, they have their own businesses, and they aggregate their funds.
Good knowledge, brother. It's definitely good knowledge. Anyone else want to build off of that?
Yeah, this is Patricia again. I hear what you're saying, but language and what we call ourselves do matter. I spent 2 years up in Juneau, Alaska, with the Aleutians, with the Native Americans up there. So language matters. What you call yourself. No, but they don't disrespect themselves. They don't call themselves out of their name. They keep themselves in high regard. So what we call ourselves matter. I really believe in the law of attraction. I believe in what you speak comes back to you. So if you call yourself a name, the universe will make you that name, will make you that. So if you don't hold yourself up in high regard and you don't care what people call you, it does matter. It's not like somebody, I'm laughing because Angelina said for messing my name up, calling me Patrice, but my name is Patricia. But that is not a disrespectful thing that you mispronounce my name. But if you call me bitch, yes, that's going to bother me. You see what I'm saying? If you call my two sons niggas, that's going to bother me. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you call me black woman, sister, mom, mother, earth, creator, I accept that. You call my sons kings, prince, leaders, they accept that. So it matters what you call yourself or what other people call you.
But hold up, sister. I want you to think on this for a second. Now, there's been a lot of people that came out and that have piggybacked on our culture and call themselves the same names. So I don't know if it necessarily is us calling ourselves certain names. It's just that maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but maybe we are really internalizing those names and really thinking we are that. Now, if that is the problem, then I agree with you. But what I'm saying is,
internalizing. When you call stuff out and it comes back, that's what happens.
I understand the law of attraction. I understand what you're saying. But what you have to understand is our people are very unique people. We were born into this type of slavery and oppression. So to counter that, we made a culture out of nothing. You understand what I'm saying? Because we come from a cultural type people. So it doesn't matter where you put us on the face of the planet, we're going to make a culture out of anything. So those slang terms, those ebonics, all the time, they don't necessarily mean what they are saying is what I'm trying to convey. Because a lot of times in politics, they do the same thing. You got the Republicans and the Democrats, but they all fall under the same head. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of times the government will come out and say one thing and do the other, the opposite. So what does that say about the system that we're under? All I'm saying is it would not matter what we did if we had unity as far as economic funds, because we have the most, if not the most, we are one of the most people with the most buying power.
But unlike any other race outside of our community, like we don't have that unity. We don't exercise collective and group economics, right?
Yeah, there you go.
So what I'm saying, brother, is like when other races do it for fun or for entertainment, like it's okay for them because they already have unity and structure behind what they're doing, right? So when we do it, it's not really proactive for us in any way because we're still like Lala's sister was talking about. We're still miseducated on politics, right? So when we're out here playing around, calling each other different names, not practicing group economics, and not being unified, it's really detrimental to us. But when other races do it, they're on point. They have a code of conduct when a member of their community gets assassinated, gets murdered, or there's some kind of injustice, because what they'll do is they'll stop their funds from going to that politician that's supposed to be representing them and get them out of office and put someone else in. So that's what this whole topic is about when we're talking about a code of conduct and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like, you know, fam, what are some of the top 3 or 5 policies you think we should be focusing on, whether it be local, state, or, you know, federal elections? You know, obviously we talked about education or miseducation. What are some of the other things that you think that Black America needs to focus on right now when we come to talk about policies? Not people that look like us, like President Obama, but like policies that we should be voting and paying attention to.
I say we shouldn't vote. We shouldn't vote until we start aggregating our funds. It doesn't matter who we vote for. I mean, well, locally we should start to vote for some politicians that speak to Black people. You know what I mean? If you're not talking about helping Black people, then we don't need to vote. We don't need to cast our ballots. Point blank, period. Oh, but sorry, I didn't mean to cut off the sister.
No, he was saying what policy that we need to focus on besides I said healthcare. That's what really needs. You're dying left and right. You know, I'm not saying by being murdered. I mean just health in general. Health. Policies.
We're being murdered in those hospitals too as well, sister.
It's policies.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, you said we're being murdered in the hospitals. Yeah, that's a whole new topic right there. But,
I was just putting it out there.
We're being murdered everywhere, but I think that healthcare is something, you know, good that we need to take a look at. Unfortunately, I don't agree with Obamacare, so I don't know what other kind of health platforms they can put out there for us. But as far as who's going to help us when we're being unjustly, like, incarcerated, who's going to help us when we're murdered, who's going to help us? Honestly, when it comes to politics, I just don't have the answers. I don't know. So I guess that's why we have this platform. Right. Very true.
Well, politically, like I feel like there has to be a Black policy as far as that help Black people. Point blank, period. Obama came out and supported the gay rights movement. Obama came out and supported every other faction other than the United States of America, so-called Negro. I mean, and when the Baltimore incident happened, he called those people some derogatory name. I can't remember exactly. Don't quote me. But all that was frustration from not getting the same equal opportunities in their community and miseducation, basically. So, I mean, when it comes to politics, it's simple. We have to aggregate our funds, you know, start on a lower level, start local, grassroots. Black money is spent with Black dollars. But we'll sell to anyone. But our money is spent on other Black businesses. And I'm going by The Power Economics by Dr. Claude Anderson. Anybody can pick that book up. Great book. But I'll leave the floor on that.
Anyone else's thoughts? Who hasn't had a chance to speak yet, or if you have, anyone else's thoughts on this?
I just like to say, this is Ebonique. When Sister Patricia was talking about healthcare and holistic and naturopathic, that's another good thing. In UBA, we have a member. We have a member there, Jennifer. She deals in naturopathic medicine. She's an herbalist. So, you know, I think African people, we're used to getting our medicine from the earth, and so we do need to instill those kind of practices back into our families. So, I agree with Patricia.
Yeah, most definitely. And then to make it matters worse, Obama, you know, when he first was running for president, he was against the bankers and against what America was doing to the middle class. and then he gets in office and then bails out the same people that put us in the situation that we're in. So he's giving support to every other faction of people that he said he wouldn't. And he's never included the black man in that operation. And that's because our economic funds are not aggregated. And we need to wake up, and the time is now.
And so, I mean, that's a great point, brother, and I'm sure everybody can agree with that. So I think going forward, I think one thing that we all should, especially having the Pan-African mentality, is not looking at because, I mean, let's just be honest. A lot of us voted for President Obama because we really didn't have a better option to vote for anyone, right? Number one. Number two, we all wanted to see a brother in the White House, you know what I'm saying? But we see that even by voting, that our lives have not significantly improved. If anything, our lives are very similar, if not the same, to how they were in the 90s, in the 80s, and even before then. You know what I'm saying? So I think going forward is definitely important. I mean, even not to say that we didn't take this into consideration when we first voted, but no matter how bad we want to see another brother or sister or whatever in the office, we cannot just vote on people or what they look like. We have to specifically focus and target on policies. And it's whoever locally as well. We're not just talking about presidents. We're talking about, you know, in our city councils, right? Our mayors, you know, our governors, right? We really have to educate ourselves on these policies, not just ourselves, but our people, you know. So, you know, what are some of the consequences, you know, that, you know, or some of the actions we can take to hold our politicians or our, you know, locally or whatever accountable when we are victims of murder, prosecution, discrimination, you know what I'm saying, or any other forms of injustice? Like, what can we do after we elect them, right? And we're still not seeing the results of what we need to see. What can we do immediately instead of waiting to the next election to make sure we can start seeing some of these changes, Pete?
This is Jenny. I'm really sorry I'm late. I knew something in the back of my mind was saying something's happening, and it just went by me.
Peace, Wayne. We're glad to have you on the call. How you feeling this evening, Jenny? This is Jim.
Oh, well, I had my exam yesterday, so I'm knocking on wood that I passed. So I feel like I'm out of jail. Honestly, it's been a long 2 months studying for this exam. So
we definitely interested to hear your thoughts on this topic.
Well, this is the thing. You know, at the risk of sounding, you know, like a sellout or whatever, you know, I have to speak up, because one thing that's hurting us as a people is that we criticize each other kind of like in the kitchen. Like right now we're talking about black people need to do this, black people need to do that, but we need to do that publicly. Mm. We can't be one big monolith until we agree to be a monolith. And I guess what I'm saying is that we have to speak truth to power, even to black people. I think there's this groupthink that we have that if we beg to differ with somebody who's on the same political viewpoint, I know people can talk about black Republicans, et cetera, you know, because most of us are not Republicans. But, you know, if we're on the same page politically, we don't want to really say anything that, you know, pits us against one another. And I don't think we have to be against one another, but I think we need to speak truth even to our own power for the people who think like us. So what I don't like is when people were not for Obama when he first was running for office. Hillary was ahead of him. And it was after that incident where she said it took a president to sign the Civil Rights Act into law that the media said, she's saying it took a president. It wasn't Martin Luther King. Okay, she did this at Ebenezer Baptist Church, if I'm not mistaken. So they felt it was a diss. And Obama jumped on that. And next thing you know, everybody jumped to Obama's side. So my point is, okay, so he's president, and that's fine. And I think he's done everything that he can. I think that he had no idea that this country is as racist as it has proven to be. So we can talk about, what he hasn't done for us, but I also think we're in new territory here. We're in new millennium racism, what we thought was passé. But we're back. We're back in the 1940s now. And I don't think he didn't know that was going to happen. He invited those people, the Congress, all the Republicans and the Democrats. The day he was in the White House, he invited them in for a conciliatory, okay, let's get the government working. And those Republicans did not show up, not one. This is a man he was president. And they told him, oh, no, you're not president. You're a black president. You're not our president. And that's what he's had to deal with for 8 years, guys. 8 years. So he can't champion us. They've got knives, and they've got a target on his back everywhere he goes. So I'm just saying, we have to understand this is a new America for all of us, not just you people. For me, I'm twice your age, maybe 3 times your age. This is new for me. So I'm just saying, we have to think. We've got to think smart. We can't just jump on the same bandwagon without thinking.
Yeah.
Just N-word. The N-word.
Well, I feel like, America's always been racist, but to piggyback on what you're saying, you're absolutely right, sister. We can't expect for Obama to do the things that he said he was going to do when he first came into office. But he did give us hope. And he said he was going to give us hope, and he did that. So it's up to us to use that hope effectively to do something locally and in the grassroots faction like we're doing now. And it starts here. It starts with us and with these people on this call right now, because it's not going to come from the big government, because they're not going to have it. You know what I mean? The revolution will never be televised. And that was true in the 60s, and that is true now in 2015. But they have always been racist. They have always felt a certain type of way about our people. And that's just because they know who we are, and they know our biological and genetic potential. So we need to realize that as well. And that goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning, about knowing thyself. And it's up to us as Pan-African missionaries, I like to call ourselves, to let our people know what's going on, and especially the queens, because the queens is where our powers is going to be. And I hear all y'all queens stepping up and taking over the mic, and it's amazing. It's a beautiful thing. But y'all need to get with y'all sisters. Have some group meetings, book readings, whatever you guys can do to get our sisters mobilized and galvanized. You guys can do it, and I know you will do it.
Ashe. Wise words, brother. Anyone else want to kind of build on what Sister Jenny said? Public accountability of our own people. That's a great suggestion, and I think we should do that. I think it's not it's all about the typical phrases, not what you say, but how you say it. But we definitely need to be a little bit more critical of our people. But one thing I do kind of disagree with about new millennium racism, I think Obama was very naive to believe that a lot of people who low-key supported him and helping him get there were going to be there with him through these thicker and more difficult times, especially once you started seeing, racism and a lot of police brutality and a lot of these things happen to reoccur. And so it just goes to show, a lot of this stuff is not new. It's going to continue to happen if we do not establish a code of conduct on how we're going to deal with it. And that's one way we can deal with it, by this public accountability. But anyone else's thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'd like to say something. My name's Liz. I don't know, some of you may know me. I wanted to say that one thing that we might be messing up with is, putting all our chips on Obama. He became the president of the United States, very true. But, he didn't become the president of Black United States. By us putting all our chips on him, we sort of have these super high expectations for him, and we're expecting him to make all these huge changes, and he can't. Like the sister before, everything that he's been trying to do, they've been trying to keep him from doing. So I feel like we should, instead of focusing on expecting Obama to do all these different things, we should unify under a different group, under one group as a people. Even for us to have our own representative who speaks for us.
Well, the only thing about that, I agree 100% with what you're saying about putting all our eggs in one basket. I think you might have said it a little differently, but we definitely cannot rely on one person, whether it be president of the United States or president of United Black Africa, United States of Africa, Pan-Africanism, whatever, because when we see what systematic white supremacy does, they use the weapon of murder to assassinate any leader we have. We've seen it with Malcolm, we've seen it with Martin, we've seen it with Huey, we've seen it over and over and over again. So I think what's important for us is to accept one concept. But because we're so complex as people, and we're so divided over a lot of different things, whether it be politics, religion, or just economic classes, the thing is we definitely have to be our own leaders in our own households, our own communities, and our own organizations. And then once we're able to do that, then we can unify and advance. But I'm not discrediting anything you said, Sister Liz, but just wanted to throw that in there. What's everybody else's thoughts? We got about 10 more minutes, so I want everybody to kind of, have a chance to speak if you haven't already.
Well, I did want to say, I don't know if a lot of people have heard about it, but there's a group called Anonymous. And Anonymous, they're kind of speaking like, as a group, there's no one leader. And I think that's the idea that we may be able to use for our benefit. Instead of having one leader like Malcolm X or Huey, we can have our group without a leader, but a voice that, speaks for every single person.
Mm-hmm. I like that idea. What was you going to say, Brother Cass?
Yes, Brother Hesh, a little quick. And brothers and sisters, I know that, we've been speaking about these topics and, this particular topic in what's affecting our communities. But again, I want to say, how many people here belong to an organization? Whether it be United Black America, whether it be NAACP, whatever. And don't laugh, folks, but do you belong to an organization? That's number one. Number two, if you don't belong to an organization, you need to get involved some way, somehow. Again, I spoke in the very beginning about politics being, you have to participate in politics. Number three, brothers and sisters, these churches that you belong to, these if you're going somewhere to worship, if you're going somewhere to socialize, start some sort of political action committee within your organization. That's the only way things are going to get done. Because if you don't do that, things will continue to be the way they are. Well, and this is what white supremacy wants us to do, to sit here and talk about things over and over and over and over again that we already know the answer to. So, when you join a group, no, you don't have to be a robot, sister, but when you join a group, you understand that there's power in numbers. So maybe, you need to inspect or check the group that you belong to, okay, first. But what the thought that we are operating under is that we are black. You have white think tanks that are thinking every day and night, how to wipe you off the face of the earth. And we're worried about one minor issue that we can get hung up on and then leaving the group. You're not going to get anywhere thinking by yourself. See, this is what black people have to understand. And this is what we don't understand. Like, for instance, you're on the phone right now, the UBA. Join the UBA. This is something where we accept everybody's thought, but we understand we are thinking under the platform of Pan-Africanism. We are black. And if we don't do something now, we are going to die. And then we'll be no more conversation.
Miss Jenny, to compliment everybody on this phone call for having very good critical thinking skills. And that's what's needed. A lot of this popular thought that we have nowadays, the Entertainment Tonight thinking, the MSNBC versus the Fox thinking, that's all well and good, but that's for mediocre minds. You guys are critical thinkers. And what I like about this group is that we can share our thinking, and that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying share your thoughts, because everybody here is a thinker. You got to share what you believe with other people who might not be like-minded, but you share that different viewpoint, and they might, well, you know what? I never thought of that, because a lot of people are being told what to think. That's how you share. That's how you spread the message, by sharing what you think in a critical way, but in a diplomatic way.
Yes, indeed, Queen. We got about 3 more minutes left. I want to see if I can get about 1 or 2 more people Any closing thoughts from anybody? If you didn't have a chance to speak on something or you heard something else somebody said that was powerful that you agreed or disagreed with, you want to make your thoughts known before you depart from the call?
I just want to say I had a meeting yesterday in this town, Black community, and they're deciding that whether or not they want to put together an organization. And I did stand up and tell them, yes, we need an organization because the Black businesses are being ran out of this town because of the, Black people are not sticking together and helping support each other. And if the police are coming in to push you out, I told them, I need you to stand there with me to help keep my business there. Also, they have a NAACP chapter here, but it's inactive because they don't have the numbers, the people. And I was thinking about it. And so after hearing you all just talk, it made me decide that I'm going to go ahead and join the NAACP here, their chapter here. Because I need for my children and my grandchildren to live. So join some organizations that are going to benefit our people, that are going to help our babies to live so that they can have babies. And that's all I want to say.
And sister, that's great too. And make sure, sister, that you speak of the issues that you know that are affecting Black people today. Not the mamby-pamby stuff that they've been talking about for 50, 60 years. And I'm not shedding any negative light on what the civil rights movement has given us. Because definitely, without them, where would we be? But it's some new level thinking now. Like this is Jenny said, critical thinking. We know if they continue to kill you and eat a hamburger and go to sleep, you understand? So we have to join the NAACP, but you know what? You got to teach right, preach right, tell them exactly what Black people need to hear, and not, let's hold hands and let's go say a prayer. We're a little beyond that now. That's all I have to say. I'm done.
Hey, just to piggyback on what he's saying before my phone dies, I just wanted to say that this is a beautiful call. Everybody having their opinion and talking. But just to piggyback on what the brother was saying, he's right. I heard a doctor say recently that if we don't do something about the white people, they're going to kill us. And they're effectively trying to kill us right now. Bill Gates, all of those guys, they're putting all types of stuff in the vaccines in Africa. They're on they're trying to recolonize Africa right now. So we have to organize and we have to help our people wake up. Whether they're Christian, whether they're Moor, whatever they are, it doesn't matter where they are at. We need to keep talking to them. It's like a mission. Europeans go every single year, and it doesn't matter if they are the people there are already Christianized or whatever they believe in. They're gonna spread their message, and that's what we have to do the same when it comes to this Pan-Africanism. Peace and love to all y'all brothers and sisters.
Most definitely, brother. That was great closing thoughts. And it's 8:00 p.m. and we could definitely build for another hour or so. But it's Sunday. I know we all have lives, but I just want to thank everybody, all the kings, queens, and the great thinkers, the strong and thoughtful thinkers that were on this call tonight. So I'm just going to close by going over some of the things that we talked about. Even though sometimes, we may be a little hesitant to join organizations or groups because if we don't think the same way as them, they might oust us. That just means we need to do better research on these organizations because there are power in numbers, family. And the code of conduct is that we do not have to be uniformed in our opinions and our beliefs, to be uniformed in our intentions. So with that being said, be sure to participate, whether it be in politics or whatever issues that are plaguing our communities. Participate in that. That's the only way we're going to see things instead of just sitting back and talking about it. Let's get active. And so the best way to battle these weapons of miseducation and prosecution that white supremacy likes to hit us with, it's time to definitely do the knowledge and educate ourselves, not only on our history, but not on our history and culturally, but also politically. So once we educate ourselves, we can definitely educate our people. You know what I'm saying? Sister Jenny also talked about public accountability of our people. Let's do that as well. And also hold ourselves accountable. If we're not doing what we need to do, then we need to damn well start doing it. All right? So before I let everyone go, I just want to let you know, if you're interested in learning more about what we are about or interested in being a member, of United Black America, visit our website, which is unitedblackamerica.org, and click Join the United Black America. From there, just enter your contact information. Within 72 hours, our community leader will contact you to answer any questions you have. Following that initial call, you will have an opportunity to join a project team, a local chapter, or participate in an online study group. That's all that I have, family. If anyone else has any closing thoughts, questions, concerns, or comments, let them be known. Other than that, enjoy the rest of your evening.
I love you all, family. I love you all.
I love you all as well, fam.
Love you back.